You're listening to talkSPORT. Coming up for you tomorrow, we've got England against the West Indies. I'm very pleased to say, to go through it all with us and look ahead, is former England bowler and cricket pundit here at talkSPORT, the legend Steve Harmison. How are you, Harmy?
I'm very well. How are we both?
Harmy, good mate. Thank you very much.
Yeah, very, very
Would you
well,
have stuck
thanks.
on that, or would you have gone higher or lower?
I'd have gone higher or lower. You got to go and win. This England cricket team only think about the winning element, the entertainment element. So
absolutely, he who dares,
for the
Rodney.
entertainment element. I wouldn't have gotten it right, but.
Oh, yeah, I know. You'd have went, I wish I'd stuck at the end of that. England have recalled pace bowler Mark Wood to the starting team for the second test. What do you think about this?
Yeah, well, he's a big shoes to fill because obviously Jimmy Anderson's has gone. It will be centre forward like following someone like Harry Kane or I mean it's a massive void to fill, Jimmy Anderson leaving. But Mark Wood, I think England need to look differently at Mark Wood now. I think we've looked at him, tried in the 2 World Cups with Jofra Archer and Mark Wood, the 2 spearheads, fast bowlers. England need pace in their test team, and I would do what England did in 2015 with Broad and Anderson and take him away from white ball cricket and only play him in red ball cricket from now on, and make sure that we've got him for as much as we can in red ball cricket and have that fast bowling element, because we've seen during the Ashes last summer, we were 2-0 down when Wood and Wokes came back into the contest. And I mean, we were a different team. So to have a pace bowler like Wood available for as many test matches, I know his injury record is not the greatest, but I would have him as much red ball stuff as I have now, because Archer's not going to be playing red ball cricket until possibly next summer. So if this test team wants to start building momentum towards the Ashes, and that's why Anderson's gone, I would make sure Mark Wood's in as many test matches as possibly can, because Pearce does wonderful things to batters of the opposition, and it's such a different game when you've got somebody who can bowl that quickly.
Harmy, we'll come on to Gus Ainson in a second, but just tell us just what it's like sort of in the dressing room and away from actually on the pitch, but the figure that Jimmy Anderson was, the charismatic person, and almost when things weren't going well, you'd look towards him in the dressing room as well as on the pitch. How big a miss will he be?
He'd be massive. He's not going to. He's still in there with, obviously, from the coaching element. I mean, I'm so intrigued to see how these next 2 games go from Jimmy Anderson, where he's the next phase of his career is where he goes in broadcasting, where he stays in coaching, goes into the dressing room at mentor. He's been such a colossal figure for England. He doesn't say a great deal, to be honest, when he's in the dressing room. He's the grumpiest man in the world, majority of the time. But he has got so much knowledge. He's got so much to give. And whenever the bell rang, whether it's lunchtime, tea time, or at the start of play, you knew the starter of the session was going to be nailed. Absolutely nailed 100%. Your captain, whoever it was, whether it's Sir Alistair Cook, Michael Vaughan, Nasser Hussain was his first captain, or even Ben Stokes. You knew the first 5 or 6 overs from one end when the ball was thrown to Broad, and then Anderson. You knew you had control of the session, and I think that is going to be the biggest thing that England are going to miss from Jimmy, because even at 41 years old, the control he had in the start of each session, as a captain, I think that's invaluable. So his experience, his know-how, his knowledge, and his skill level will definitely be missed. But somebody he had to eventually go, and he's to go on to 41. I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah, and you've got to look at the future as well for England and the other people coming through. Like, talk to us about Gus Ainson. Is he a potential new star in town?
He has. He's got all the attributes to be a fine bowler. There's a lot of question marks on Gus, and not question marks in a negative way. I think question marks in an unknown way. I think anybody that knows the sort of cricket element and seen first-class cricket, he hasn't played a huge amount of first-class cricket. He hasn't opened the bowling yet for Surrey. He's played for England. He hasn't bowled a new ball first up for Surrey yet. So there's a lot of intriguing questions which could end up in a positive result. Fingers crossed. I thought he bowled excellent at Lords. Let's be fair, the West Indies, I mean, I'm not going to have a go at their players, because it's not the players' fault. It's the system's fault in the West Indies cricket at this moment in time, and why they're so poor. But I think Gus Ainson bowling last week at Lords against even one of the top nations would have caused a hell of a lot of headaches and a hell of a lot of problems. The areas he bowled, I think that the energy into the wicket, the the aggressiveness towards the tail end. I was really, really impressed by Gus. And it's just, again, like a lot of our fast bowlers, Shaban, we've got a hell of a lot of fast bowlers that come, they have a good game, and then we don't see them again. I mean, I think to put it in footballing terms, I've said this a few times on talkSPORT. We've got a lot of very good 15-minute substitutes. But other than Broad and Anderson, we struggle to get 90 minutes from a bowling point of view. That is something we need to make sure. Atkinson last week, question mark, can he back-to-back games? He doesn't do that very well for Surrey. Well, time will tell this week, because last week wasn't really too much of a contest. So this will be good for him. But I was really, really impressed by the boy last week.
Good.
Might these be the perfect opponents, though? We saw, you mentioned how poor they were in the first test. It was a thrashing. Can they make a fist of this in the second?
I'd be very, very surprised. They're here an extra week. Their preparation hasn't been great, the West Indies. It's amazing this team went to Brisbane and won. I mean, they went to Brisbane and won. Nobody goes to Brisbane and wins against Australia. It's like going to the Etihad and winning. It is really difficult place to go. It's even more impossible than the Etihad and winning. So they did win there. They can bounce back. Yes, they've got some talented players, especially in the bowling attack. But the batting unit was what was always going to worry. They were always going to struggle to get runs. And Jason Holder batting at 6, I think he's one too high. So it'll be interesting to see what their team is when it comes out. But I think from an England point of view, this is a great chance for 6 test matches this summer. To show some sort of domination, some arrogance. They've got good arrogance, this England team, but they've got to learn the winning mentality, the ruthlessness of winning mentality. They won a 3-day game at Lords. They can go and back that up at Trent Bridge. And if England win each test match this summer, because Sri Lanka will not be the greatest opponent either, but if they can go and win in 3 and 4 days and set a winning culture and a winning mentality, that will stand them in good stead going into the winter, then India at home next year. And because the tap on the shoulder of Anderson, England are preparing for Australia away. And, winning becomes a habit, a huge habit. And that's what England have got to learn throughout these 6 test matches this summer.
Harmy, thank you. In a word, before we let you go, would you let Eddie Howe go to England?
I wouldn't let Eddie Howe go anywhere. I wouldn't let him go anywhere. I know it's not just one word.
I said one word, Harmy. You failed.
He's going to go and man mark him now.
I know. I can't. Well, anybody that knows me know I can't do one word. But Newcastle fans, we understand why the clamour is for Eddie. Yeah. But we want him to go nowhere because he's done brilliant for this football club. It's in James's Park.
Yeah.
We will wait and see. He looks like one of the front runners to replace Gareth Southgate. Steve Harmison, thank you very much. Don't forget tomorrow, England against West Indies, the second test at Trent Bridge from 11 o'clock. All of the updates for you here on talkSPORT. You're listening to Shabana Hearn and Scott Minto here with Selco Builders Warehouse. Check out this month's real deals at selcobw.com.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.